Hey you guys, this is Jet888. Just a really quick update here. Not an update. I'm just going to go over some things I saw, and it's regarding Bethlehem. Here's a cityscape of Bethlehem, and I think that you saw in my the Super Bowl cover for the ritual, the video for that. They showed a cityscape. Now, cityscape, the gematria number for that is 101, and it's I can't breathe, but without the E. So, but it's I can't breath, I guess. We've heard that before. And how I came to look at this is I came across the number 88 I was looking at, and it said Lord Inky, and I keep seeing that around a lot, Lord Inky. When I looked at the anagram for Lord Inky, it's rod-like. So it kind of made more sense to me why that Super Bowl, they kept holding things in their hand that looked like lasers. So that was rod-like is the anagram. And the gematria number is Ray Info, California, and Trump. 88 is also the numerical value for the word Elizabeth, and for some reason, Beth, I just thought of Bethlehem, and when I looked at the anagram for Elizabeth, it was Z-A-I, Bethel, and Bethel is all Bethel, and the Z is 500, and 500 equals Lord of Christ, POTUS, Friday, buckle up, fiery sky, eyes, foundation, phase 4, CIA deletes all Facebooks, letters MQ, perfect trap, dark day, and dark day I looked at, it could also be DDAI arc, and DD is D-Day, like when that guy mentioned in the Operation Warp Speed, D-Day is the beginning of the end. 88 is also Bible character, condemned. So rituals, Satan's helper. So that Z being 526. 26 is also God, AA Ray, and AA is 1-1, so that could be looked at as 11. And we saw the James Raymond Stadium, or Raymond James Stadium, James Raymond, I guess, Stadium for the Super Bowl in Florida. Beer, game, lie, and card. So the anagram for Elizabeth was Bethel, Z-A-I. So the A-I-Z, Bethel. So it just made me want to look at Bethlehem. Now remember, Genesis equals C sign. That's the anagram. And ever living is V evil reign. Those are the numbers. And the V equals 22, and MAGA equals 22. But looking at Bethlehem, it's Beit Lamb. Beit Lamb. Watch this. So it says Bethlehem, the Arabic, Beit Lamb, house of meat. I mean, I don't know. Has everyone been tricked about their religion and the Bible? So the Arabic meaning is house of meat, and the Hebrew pronunciation, I guess Bethlehem, I don't even know how to say that, but it's house of bread. So I looked at Bethel also. So city of Palestine, north of Jerusalem. Look at this. Why would it have that? Number sign R, number N, number N. It made me think of run, like runscape. So isn't that weird? Note, number R, number N. The present day West Bank town of the site of Bethel is called RN. And Bethel, a hallowed or holy place, a chapel for seafarers. Now you all know I've done a lot of things on pirates. So seafarer, a sailor or mariner, a person who travels by sea, one whose life is spent in voyaging of the ocean. A sailor, a mariner, pirate equals parties. Remember all the politicians, all the left-right paradigm, the Democrats, Republican parties, they're pirates. So it says Bethel is the name of a place often used in the Hebrew Bible. It is first mentioned in Genesis 12:8 and is being near where Abram pitched his tent. And look at 12:8 in the biblical code is CERN. Well, it's actually 12:8 in gematria is biblical code. CERN, help me. Eagles, America, fatal, hidden, and agenda. Also looking at the word Bethel, the anagram BH tele and BH equals AI. It shows the numbers right there, 10, 60, 10, and AI and CDC are all 10, 60, and 10. So there's your Bethel, and it says it's often used in the place at the Hebrew Bible, and when I looked at the Hebrew Bible, it was hell web bribe. And then if anyone watched my Super Bowl ritual decoding thing, the word brew pub came up a lot, and William Gates that was part of his name, was brew pub. So hell web bribe. Is that like Charlotte's Web, like the North Carolina Charlotte Coliseum that we looked at that looked like the ovens? And then Bethel, where it mentioned that Abram pitched his tent. Abram's anagram can be B-A-Mar, and Mar is C, like Mar-a-Lago. And in this Bethlehem article, it says, identifies as the city David was from and where he was crowned as the King of Israel. Looking at the King of Israel's anagram, it glorifies Khan, and it could be Khan or glorifies Nak. And Nak meaning negative acknowledgement, a communications code used to indicate that a message was received in error or that the endpoint is not ready to accept data, or simply a no response to a query. So does this just kind of show or say that we're being given messages that people aren't seeing? They're not ready to accept data. Is that like knick-knack, Patty Black? Give your dog a loan, give your frog a loan. Remember that one? But so glorifies knack. So are they glorifying that they can kind of hide some messages, that they can show us one thing, but it's not received, it's not seen? So glorifies the communication code used to indicate that a message was received in error or that the endpoint is not ready to accept data. Are we the endpoint? This states the earliest known mention of Bethlehem was in Amarna correspondence, which I haven't looked at yet, and down below identifies it as the city David was from. And the anagram for David, A-I-V-D-D, like D-Day, an IV D-Day. Remember that guy? Beginning of the end, D-Day, during the Operation Warp Speed speech. And Bethlehem, initially named after Canaanite fertility god, is a city in the central West Bank, Palestine. West Bank can be Raymond E, like the James Raymond Stadium. The anagram can also be tank webs, kind of like wars, that the webs that they create. Charlotte's Webs, the tanks, Bats New, and TBS Waken. And TBS is owned by Warner Media Studios, like, Warner Brothers, like Warn the Brothers. I think it was owned by Ted Turner, because Turner Networks. So Turner, and slogan, always here for a good time. So West Bank, Palestine. Palestine, anti-sleep, these are the anagrams. Penalties, tape lines, like the police tapes you always see, or tape or phone lines, who knows, or T, penalize. And Pina can be from Palestine's, it's T, penalize, or Pina lies, And pina is translate shame, sorrow, pity, too bad, heartache, penalty, punishment. And T equals Bible code, or it could be target, but the Bible code, it shows heartache, penalty, punishment, lies. It's lies. They're all lies. And I'm sorry to do this, but here's the anagram for Jesus. It's J uses, and J equals 660 and 10. We saw the 10 earlier. It means AI, but 600 is Lucifer and Satan. So Lucifer and Satan uses, probably us. And the ever-living, V evil reign. I mean, how can all these words and stuff end up being such tricks? I mean, just start with Bethlehem, Beit Lamb, house of meat. How can anyone not stop and look at what's really being told to us? This mentions Bethlehem's economy is primarily tourist-driven during Christmas season, with Santa Claus, Satan Claus, Claus, when Christians make pilgrimage to the Church of the Nativity. Here's a couple anagrams for Church of the Nativity. Thy fourth hit vaccine, thy five trochiet, I don't even know how to say that, trochaic hunt. And trochaic is in poetry having rhythm of one or long short syllables. The poem is a trochaic meter. Gates is part of a poetry society. Did you know that? So imitated by Longfellow in Hiawatha. Now Hiawatha is await, HHAI, or it could be await household AI, or HH is also in gematria equals cage, it equals 16. Church of the Nativity could also be though catch vitrify hunt, and again HH is cage. Though catch vitrify hunt is catch is a hiding place, especially it says under the ground for ammunition, food, treasures, like pirates, but people have been probably hiding a lot of food lately. And vitrification, the progress or partial fusion of a clay or of a body, and it's the result of firing process, like really high heat. Probably like we saw what happened to those poor people in Paradise, California with all the dew weapons. Church of the Nativity can also be TikTok Navy Fire HH. And HH can be heavy helicopter, helicopter C. Oh, that's heavy helicopter C technology, household, handheld, or health hazard. So take your pick. TikTok, Navy, Fire, HH. Nativity can also just be broken down to I-tan Tivy. In Tivy, with great speed, a huntsman's word or sound. Remember the word in the Super Bowl, the Buccaneers, Bucan, was the sound of the goat, like the goat horn, the person who blows the goat horn. And this is kind of weird. Tivy in the Wiktionary is we mount and we fly, all racking along in a downy white cloud. And lest our leap from the sky we should prove too far, we slide on the back of the newly falling star. But Nativity, when I saw I tan, the tanning is the process that you do to skin as you dry it out. But the wall is also ta hell, or the wall can be lethal W. But the ta hell, this says, so a choice or fancy marble used as a shooter, the tall line from which the players shoot. It is the 22nd letter, 22nd and last letter, but ta, so the 22nd, we also go back up to V, which is 22. Remember, V equals 22, and that equals mag. But also, the Phoenician letter gave rise to the Greek ta, that's T. So ta in Arabic, the 22nd in Abjadi order. So I went to look at that. I'm not familiar with that. And this says abjad is a type of writing system in which each symbol or glyph stands for a consonant. And so the term is neologism, introduced in 1990 by Peter Daniels. So I went to look at his name. So Ta 22 is T or 22 is V. Looking at Peter Daniels, and the anagram for Peter Daniels' name, Peter T. Daniels, is L predestinate. L predestinate. So Peter T. Daniels, and the L equals 207212. That's KIA, or caged. So predestinate, definition is destined, fated, or determined beforehand. So is that just a big old coincidence? And Ta also, the what is that? Merriam-Webster, MW Dictionary. Merriam-Webster is marble used to shoot with, a game of marbles. This is Ta. To prepare, akin to Goth, to make skins into leather by treating with alum, so aluminum sulfate. So that's what they're spraying us with. Oh, it's also to whip and flog. Whip, flog. And we saw crop in that Super Bowl decoding I showed you guys. A crop or a whip. So also the Ta, the big marble. When you think of the big marble, well, other people, it's not just me, but big marble, the big blue marble, the earth is considered the big blue marble. So regarding that Ta again, looking at treating with aluminum, and just looking at this picture in the sky regarding chemtrails or contrails, it talks about after soils, according to patents and soil testing, these clouds are packing aluminum and heavy metals that contaminate our breathing air and biosphere. And I'm almost finished here but what I thought was kind of funny, it talks about Genesis. This says most academics identify Bethel with the Arab West Bank village Beaton. Isn't that funny? Beaton? Could it be Beaton? A minority opinion preferring it looks like Elvira, R.B. Heil. Now this says Heil definition is a salute with the German exclamation. We've seen that. But this says Heil, Achille, whatever, a Bethelite who, according to 1 Kings 16:34, rebuilt Jericho. That's interesting. So not only rebuilt Jericho, but in fulfillment of a curse pronounced by Joshua, sacrificed his 2 sons. And it says this seems to have been a custom prevalent among primitive peoples, but we've seen that custom, sacrificing your children, in some of the elites and the higher ups, the bloodlines. And here, looking at that Heil word, the Heil name occurs only one time in the Bible. Hail of Bethlehem was the unfortunate soul who chose to ignore the curse of Joshua concerning Jericho. Joshua proclaimed right after the miraculous destruction of Jericho that whoever would try to rebuild the city would lose his firstborn when he laid the foundation, and his youngest when he set up the gates. So Jericho, it says the anagram can be Rich Joe, and Gates is involved again. So one more thing, it says tribe of Ephraim. Looking at that anagram, fame prohibitor. So basically, if you don't sell your soul to these people, like in Hollywood, you don't become famous. And people are so hell-bent on being famous, they think that's very important. So you have to sell your soul if you're to become famous, and that's the problem with this world. But anyhow, that's just part of my decoding. And also looking at the Bethlehem skyline from the Church of Nativity, there's the municipal seal of Bethlehem. Look, those, if you look at that little leaf, not the ones on the sides, but in the middle, it's 11. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and the top one makes 11, perfect for them. And the star, you've got the pentagram star there, 5 points. And if you want to look at pentagrams, that's Gates PR man. Pentagrams. Gates PR man. And also another word for pentagrams was pentagon, star pentagon. Guess what's part of our country, government. But also looking at the logo, look at that. The UN, it looks pretty much like that. Look at the leaves on the outside. Anyhow, there's the UN logo too. So you don't think they're all working together? So there's the word, the Holy Bible, B-O-B Hill. Like YouTube is also to obey you, or you obey to. Holy Bible, B-O-B Hill, like Capitol Hill is Til Khalif. There's always a hill in there somewhere. Anyhow, okay guys, bye.